Thank you for a great introduction. My name is Jaewan Kim, and because of a great introduction to all the panelists, I can scratch one list from my, one task from my list. I have chosen a small title for this conversation for today. The title that I have chosen is a Tales from the Quantum Crypt. And it's a pun from an old movie, but it's not just for pun. It's also for fun and insights. And as you all know, the quantum industry is genuinely very young. Depending upon who you ask, it could be just a decade long or even shorter in their commercialization journey. And during those short time, there are many diverse cast of personalities and participants that shape this industry the way it is now. There are startups, there are government labs, there are big corporations, and also there are investment funds. And these are all helping each other and competing against each other to shape the industry the way it is. And I'm sure in that short time, all these participants have different stories to tell about how they navigated their collaborative landscape. Sometimes these collaborative landscapes becomes a little bit more adversarial than necessary, but that's always just the name of the game. So I use the crypt so we can unlock some of the stories that never makes it to the press releases and never makes it to the official announcements in this short history of the quantum industry. There are these 5 national quantum industry associations representatives must have quite a bit of stories to tell, and we can all learn from their lessons to shape the industry forward. So let's, without further ado, let's open the crypt. The first question is about the enabler and the accidental gatekeepers. So the industry associations usually plays a role of an enabler to make things happen, to connect different participants in the industry. And also, by design or accidentally, they could actually become a gatekeeper to slow things down in terms of their evolution. So I want to hear about how each association plays a role in enabling different evolution and innovation in respective associations. And on the flip side, to hear the other side of how it became unintentionally a gatekeeper that slowed down the progress. Let me ask Philip from Canada, because he's just off his talk and he's still bubbling, and he must have full of many ideas.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good to be back. And yes, you're absolutely right. I like that you use the word evolution, because that's what it is. It isn't one major event that causes a giant step change in the ecosystem. It's sustained smaller changes over time as a result of your environment, your incentives, external pressures. So something that Quantum Industry Canada has been doing really, really well is bringing together all of the diverse stakeholders in the ecosystem. So defense, government, academia, investors, industry, and so on. Because these are the people that really need to work together, talk to each other, and figure out the concrete ways to move forward. So that is something we have very much been focused on, and something that I think we contribute to the development of the ecosystem. And on that, something that we do really well is, I mentioned that Canada has really good research excellence, great universities in quantum. And at least my experience is, in some circles, we have a bit of a reflex to fall back and talk about how great our research institutions are. And they are great. But what we need to do is we need to keep the momentum moving forward. So what QIC focuses on is, let's talk about procurement. Let's talk about commercialization. Let's talk about industrialization. Let's talk about building globally resilient supply chains with our partners. So that's what we do on the evolution side. Now, on the gatekeeper side, I will say, I wouldn't go as far to say that we've been a gatekeeper, but there is a risk of being a gatekeeper if we're not careful. And really what that means is we need to be respectful of the limited time and resources our members have. These are capital-intensive companies working with very limited resources that they need to allocate and optimize. I can send them stuff every day. Here's a survey, give me your insights on this, participate in this group, come to this event. And each of those things might be great for promoting and enhancing our sector. But these companies only have so much time in the day. They can't spend all of their time answering our surveys. So we have to be very, very mindful of how much we ask from them, because if we ask too much, we do create a risk of inhibiting the growth of our sector. So this is something that's always very top of mind for us at QIC.
Thank you, Philip, for your insightful experience. It looks like there's a lot going on in Canada and beyond the boundaries. Let's hear from a representative from down under, Rishi. How is it like in Australia? What type of challenges that you have allowed to happen?
No, thank you for having me here. So, I think in terms of challenges is the research ecosystem or research capability in Australia, as many of my counterparts over here, is quite strong in quantum. We are probably one of the front runners and we have more than 40, 50 quantum companies in the market at the moment exporting. The key challenge is how do we get this research, leverage this research capability, leverage our networks, leverage the partnerships and the infrastructure that we have, and creating more companies. So Quantum Australia, we have a specific program for this, and we have our new ventures program that aims to help researchers and entrepreneurs coming out from research institutes as well as industry to take technology out and spin them out. And we wrap all the support around them, including funding, whether they need supply chain partners, manufacturing partners. And this is where our partnership, and we would like to further continue this with Korea, is that Korea has a significant amount and capability in manufacturing and scale. And this is where the strong alignment with a lot of the companies that are being produced in not only Australia, but I'm sure many of my fellow colleagues on the panel.
Well, thank you, Rishi. You mentioned about the new ventures program. So you must be working really hard to generate new ideas into companies down there.
Yeah. I mean, it's across the stack, right? And it's really challenging. In quantum, it's such a complicated ecosystem and a complicated technology at the moment. But we are seeing significant amount of use cases and uptake from industry. And this is where coordinating bodies like ourselves can play an even bigger role in supporting the demand side, and so that the technology meets the business challenges and be able to be adopted within business operations.
Thank you very much. Next, I believe UK has been the early leaders of this industry evolution, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hear from UKQuantum's Jonathan about how he's been coping with this problem.
Thank you very much. So yes, I mean, the UK's program is just over 12 years old now. So it is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, integrated national program. UKQuantum as an industry association, though, is only 3.5 years old. So in many respects, we have grown up with and grown out of that national program. Today, we're very closely related to it. I personally sit on the UK's National Programme Board as well as its Strategic Advisory Board. But if we go back to the early days of the UK's programme, industry was always heavily engaged. We've been through a number of phases of investment. The first phase being in 2014, the second phase being in 2019. And it was actually back in the preparation for that second phase that industry really started to get engaged. So again, I personally was the lead industry sponsor for the UK's national programme, bidding in for the money that became the next phase of the national programme. And I think it's true for all of our associations is typically industry associations are there to lobby government on behalf of their members. That is not true in quantum. For all of our associations, we are working in partnership with the government to help develop the strategy, to help develop the programme, and of course, helping to develop the quantum economies.
Thank you very much. So all three association representatives talked about how these industry associations become a glue that connect different parts of the industry to make the evolution and revolution happen. Let me sort of change gear and ask a question about the voices in the room. This is about the participants and who's represented on the table for this huge quantum revolution that's going on. As a part of my job, I interface with different countries' quantum industry, and I got to learn that Japan is one of the bigger and most active markets in the world, if not just for APAC. So let's hear from Hirofumi. Let me just refer you to as Hiro. How your association has different groups of entities, and who do you want to be represented more? Talking about the gaps of representation, and how do you promote the balance and health growth of the industry that way?
First of all, thank you for having me as a panelist. That's my honor. When people discuss the quantum ecosystem, conversation is often dominated by technology provider, researcher, and the government as of now. All of these perspectives are important. However, for the industry to grow in balance and sustainable, we also need stronger participation from user side, which will ultimately use quantum technology to solve real business and social challenges. One of QStar future is that almost half of our membership are user side. This allows us to identify a real-world need, create practical use cases, and provide feedback to technological developers from the demand side. It helps ensure innovation is driven not only by technological possibility, but also by actual market need. At the same time, we need stronger voice from investment community, especially in Japan. We have world-class research providing startup and strong industry players, but the availability of the growth capital is still developing compared with some other regions. To build a healthy ecosystem, we need investors who understand quantum is a long-term strategic opportunity. This is why QStar is actively engaging not only with Japanese stakeholders, but also with overseas venture capital firms, investors, and international ecosystem partners. By connecting startups with global source of capital and expertise, we hope to accelerate commercialization and help create a more vibrant entrepreneurship environment. Ultimately, the goal is not to make one group louder than the other. It is to create an ecosystem where user, startup, researcher, investor, larger enterprises, and the government all have meaningful voice and can work together organically. In my view, the balance is what will determine the long-term success of the quantum industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiro. So he basically called out everybody in the room, but what struck me was his mention of the users in the first place. this is not a, although it is a very scientific matter and also engineering matter, but the users are very important to form the market and to form the direction of the technological growth. So I'm really impressed that you mentioned the user as the first group of voice that you wanted to hear, and also investors. We all need a driving force for revolutionary changes that you're trying to introduce here. Again, thank you for those insights. And let's hear it from Sangwook from Korean Quantum Industry Association. And he's also serving as a CEO of the PharmCADD in one of the Korean quantum companies. So he probably has a very special insight from both positions that he's holding.
저는 제 세션은 한국말로 할게요. 이 과학의 힘을 좀 빌려가지고, 그리고 이 주제를 받았을 때 좀 쉽지가 않은 문제예요. 그래서 어찌됐건 제 한국어로 좀 답을 하도록 하겠습니다. 또 패널들한테는 좀 익스큐즈를 하고요. 이게 왜 어렵냐면 저는 현재 이제 스타트업을 한 7년 정도 했어요. 잘 되고 있죠? 스타트업 7년을 했는데 원래 AI 쪽이 더 먼저 와서 이제 드롭 디자인을 하다가 양자 컴퓨팅이라고 하는 새로운 과학이 이제 여기로 온 거예요. 그래서 그걸 하면서 이 스타트업을 하면서 투자도 받아야 되고, 그 다음에 저희의 그 과학적인 것들, 어떤 테크놀로지도 증명을 해야 되고, 그 다음에 정부에서 나오는 과제도 따야 되고, 그러니까 사실은 양자산업회라는 데 속해 있는 회사로서, 스타트업으로서 정부의 정책도 중요하고, 마켓 어떤 시장도 중요하고, 그 다음에 기술도 중요하고, 그 다음에 돈도 중요하고, 그러니까 아까 히로시 상이 말씀하신 것처럼 어느 하나가 아니고 다 밸런스를 맞춰야 되는데, 기본적으로 그러면 어떤 게 더 중요한가에 대한 이야기거든요. 이 질문을 받고서 정말 많은 고민을 했고요. 제 생각에는 그래도 이 양자 기술이라는 것은 가장 핵심이 되는 거는 결국은 기술의 발전이에요. 아무도 가보지 않은 길을 기업체가 하는 거잖아요. 그렇게 된다는 거는 그 현장에 있는 사람들이 제일 많이 알고 있어요. 이 기술이 될지, 또 이 기술은 얼마나 많은 도전을 원하는지. 그래서 제 생각에는 이 많은 보이스 있잖아요. 정부, 그 다음에 투자자, 엔지니어, 그런 많은 것들 중에 어떤 층이 있다고 생각해요. 그래서 그 층이란 게 뭐냐면 기본적으로 엔지니어가 중심이 되고, 그들의 의견이 반영돼서 그 다음에 정부에서 정책적인 걸 만들어주고, 그 다음에 그걸 통해서 투자가 이루어지고 마켓이 이루어지고, 그 다음에 어제 들었던 얘기 중에 양자 컴퓨터는 오로지 팀으로 움직인다고 생각을 해요. 그 과정에서 국제 간의 교류가 이루어졌을 때 이 양자 산업이 제대로 갈 수 있다고 생각합니다. 어느 층 하나 중요하지 않은 게 없고, 또 어느 것 하나 따로 떼어져서 이렇게 나오면은 어렵다고 생각합니다. 같이 한 팀으로, 한국이 한 팀이 되고 또 국가 간의 한 팀이 됐을 때 전체 양자 산업 파이가 커진다고 생각합니다.
Thank you, Professor Sangwook. He actually emphasized a little more on the international collaboration in addition to all the other voices. I think this is a very good point that we can actually make as we sit across this panel as a different countries association representatives. Maybe Philip from Canada could add to that thought in addition to his thoughts about these different voices in the room.
You know, I think the two gentlemen have addressed it. We need diverse stakeholders. We need everyone to be involved. The problem is everyone going to be equally involved? Like I was saying earlier, these companies have things to do, man. Like, they're just trying to build a better error correcting code. You know, they have things they want to focus on and prioritize. And so when there's these other tasks around building the sector, building, an international industry, there are barriers and trade-offs for them to engage in that. So what I found is you can't force people to engage. There may be voices that could or should be a little louder. Maybe there's some subtypes of technologies that could be a little bit more prominent. But at the end of the day, you can send them information, you can ask them to attend, you can do whatever you can to bring them on board, but they're going to get out what they put in. So you can't force someone's voice to be louder. But it is absolutely clear that no one country can do this alone, no one government, no one industry segment. It takes everyone, it takes a team. Quantum in general is a global creature. There's no country in the world that has all of the buyers, all of the suppliers, all of the supply chain components, all of the partnerships domestically to build and scale this full industry. You need international collaboration. I mean, that's where you can get about talent mobility. You can talk about export controls. You can talk about resilient supply chains. So at the end of the day, you want everyone's voice to be equal. You want everyone's voice to be represented. But you can't force that to happen. You have to make incentives for that to happen.
Thank you, Philip. It is also my personal desire that this is a technology that unites the world and creates all the benefits for the mankind, not for different countries or different industries or different parts of the ecosystem. Rishi, do you have anything to add to this wonderful discussions?
I mean, everything is covered, right? I think two things. End users are absolutely imperative. Without market demand, you're not going to see anything. And you can talk about how many qubits you have, how much fidelity you have, how sensitive your sensor is. But at the end of the day, if you're not co-designing it with your end user early on, it'll be quite tough to get into the market. And I think the second thing, you're absolutely right, Philip. It's a team sport. Necessary collaboration. If not, this technology is going to take every country's strengths to build throughout the whole stack. So I think, I would definitely agree with your statement there.
Thank you very much. It wasn't really planned. Maybe, Jonathan, you could add another chip onto the table, if you don't mind.
Sorry, which particular aspect?
About the voices in the room.
Okay, so generally, I think that has been covered. One thing I'm very impressed with about, QStar and indeed KQIA is both from QStar's point of view, the amount of end users that they have in their organization. Hiro covered that a little bit earlier. That is unique, I think, amongst the industry associations. But from KQIA's perspective, whereas most of us are quantum industry associations, most of our members are quantum companies. I'm aware that KQIA members are actually existing technology companies who are starting the journey into quantum, and they are, as an association, helping them develop their quantum capabilities. That too, I think, is quite unique amongst the associations. So those voices are very critical. I mean, that's one of the things I'll be taking back, back to the UK, is how we enhance those.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Let's switch gear and talk about the talent. At the opening remarks, I mentioned that this industry is very young. What that means is that we are short of a lot of talented people to drive the industry forward. And my question is, how is your association approaching the issue of talent cultivation? And also, what are the main attractions for those from the outside the industry? Because we cannot really feed the talent shortage by just education alone. And that could include adjacent fields or other countries of different career entirely. They need to jump in and be a part of this incredible opportunity we have in quantum technologies. So just so that Jonathan can continue his thought, you can start us off.
Yes, I think a couple of things. In terms of talent coming, international talent coming into the UK, then the government very recently and this is for UK-based companies, so an international company with a UK office would be eligible. They have been revising their terms around visas to make sure it is easy, particularly for quantum companies, for them to make use of the most flexible visas that we have. And indeed, they're even offering reimbursement on visa fees. So that's to help international talent come into the UK. In terms of developing career pathways, the government, and this has not yet been launched, but they've put in place a program, it's called Tech First, across all of the critical technologies of which quantum is one. And this is very much how to support and promote careers in quantum. And this will include things like sponsorship for university degrees and PhDs, supporting placements in the quantum industry as well. So that program will be launching later on this year. And UKQuantum, we are the champion, the pathway champion, it's called, for that program. But that'll be a very structured program of interventions to help bring people into the quantum industry.
Thank you very much. I'm sure UKQuantum has a lot more programs and different pathways for career-minded people in quantum. Keep us informed and keep us educated. Let's ask Sangwook Woo from KQIA about the same question.
저는 이제 지금 부경대 물리학과에서 이제 학생들을 가리키고 있어요. 그리고 이제 지금 양자역학을 가리키고 있는데 제가 이 양자 산업에 들어올 수 있었던 가장 강한 모티베이션은 나는 양자역학을 많이 했었다고 하는 것이 사실 이 양자 컴퓨터로 들어오게 된 계기는 됐어요. 근데 와서 슈레딩거 방정식 뭐 이런 걸 풀 줄 알았더니 물론 그게 중요하지만 실제 약에 적용된 그런 게 중요하지 않은 거예요. 여기서 저는 과감하게 결단을 내렸어야 돼요. 내가 물리적 이론을 통해서 양자 알고리즘을 깊이 팔 것인가 아니면 이 나와 있는 양자 알고리즘을 잘 모디파이해서 제약에 쓸 것인가. 저희 답은 후자 쪽인 거예요. 그죠? 그래서 이게 아마 양자역학이나 양자에 대해서 모르시는 분들이 나는 양자역학을 먼저 준비해야만 여기 올 수 있지 않을까 하는 그런 것들에 대해서 어떤 젊은 친구들, 특히 인재들이 여기 오는데 망설이거나 주저하게 되지 않을까, 그게 제일 걱정이 되는 거예요. 그러니까 예를 들면 제약을 하다 보면 생물도 필요하고 화학도 필요하고 공학도 필요하고 어떻게 보면은 뭐 인문학도 필요할 수 있어요. 그죠? 그런 사람들이 난 양자에 관심이 있는데 다 물어봐요. 어떻게 하면 슈레딩거 방정식을 접하나요? 실제로 물어보지만 저의 답은 그렇지 않아요. 각자 이 양자라는 산업에서 각자 할 수 있는 저마다의 도메인 날리지가 있을 거라고 생각하고 결국은 누가 그들을 이끄는가, 이걸 한 팀으로 만든가 하는 것이 더 중요하다고 생각해요. 그러면서 내가 생물을 통해서 양자라는 언어를 배우면서 마치 가랑비에 옷 젖듯이 서서히 양자에 대해서 배워가면서 그 생물을 통한 사람이 새로운 양자 알고리즘에 대한 인사이트를 줄 수도 있을 거고요. 그래서 이런 분위기를 만드는 것이 굉장히 중요하고요. 아까 이제 영국에서는 새로운 어떤 그 탤런트 프로그램을 만든다고 했는데 현재 한국에서는 제가 알기에는 양자 대학원이 카이스트, 포항공대, 그다음에 고려대, 서울대 중심으로 굉장히 많이 잘 되고 있다고 생각을 하고 있고요. 그와 못지않게 좀 더 다른 도메인 날리지 갖는 사람들이 좀 더 낮은 문턱으로도 양자를 들어올 수 있는 그런 프로그램들을 저희 기존 세대들이 조금 더 같이 만들어 와야 된다고 생각하고 여기에서 해외 교류가 매우 중요하다고 생각해요. 예를 들면 서로 그런 양자라는 토픽을 가지고 젊은 20대들이 한국, 캐나다, 영국, 일본 서로 왔다 갔다 하면서 서로 새로운 양자 테크놀로지를 접했을 때 이게 어떤 새로운 이게 약간 외람된 말이지만 어떤 그들만의 새로운 독창적인 문화가 만들어질 수 있지 않을까, 거기에서 새로 다른 도메인의 난리지가 새로운 양자 알고리즘을 만든 데 기여할 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
Thank you very much from the perspectives of a college professor too, right? If I pick a word that relates to quantum, when I speak to people from outside the industry, the word that comes to every conversation is difficult, meaning that it's so difficult that it's somebody else's problem. And I think Professor Wu has mentioned that you have to overcome the fear and try to accept and challenge yourself. And there are many opportunities to participate in this great industry. And Hiro, I am aware that Japan has a quite distinct advantage in terms of developing educational sort of a training different technology people in the pipeline. So maybe you can talk about that as well as the introducing people from other industries as well.
Yeah, sure. Talent development is one of the highest priority in QStar because building the quantum industry ultimately means building people. One thing we have learned that there is no single talent pipeline. Different stakeholders need different entry points. This is why QStar provides a program for multi-layer ecosystem. For example, beginner want to learn from the quantum principle. Startup need to know how to operate a business and how to get the investment. In addition, company executives like a CEO. In Japan, executive engagement is particularly important. Many organizations move most effectively where there is a clear commitment from top-level management. If CEO and senior executive understand the strategic importance of quantum technology, companies are much more willing to invest in talent development, pilot projects, and long-term adoption. So for us, talent cultivation is not only about educating engineers and researchers, it is also about educating decision makers. For people outside in industry, my message is simple. Quantum needs more than quantum experts. As the ecosystem grows, we will need a software engineer, AI specialist, manufacturing expert, investor, and so on. Many of us, variable application will come from people who deeply understand real-world problems and can connect them with quantum technology. This is why we actively welcome people from a wide range of industry, different countries, and even entire different careers. Fresh perspectives are often source of innovation. In short, quantum is not just scientific opportunity, it is an industrial opportunity. And there is a place in the ecosystem for anyone who is willing to learn, collaborate, and help shape the future. The future quantum workforce will not be built alone. It will be built by people from many different disciplines, industry, and background.
Thank you, Hiro. One of the messages that I got from his remarks is that we need people who can glue different parts together because the quantum industry is a what we call in Korea 융합 industry. We need people who can actually speak many different languages, not just country and nation's language, but the technology and businesses and many other types of languages, so that these different pieces are connected well. These will conclude the question sessions. This is personally my first Quantum Korea, and I really thank the organizers just throwing a wonderful party and a great event for all of us to learn and connect with each other. And I'm sure all 5 panelists have experienced similar excitements here. So this is just a rapid fire question, so you can answer it quickly without deep discussions. what would you do waking up tomorrow morning differently since you've been at the Quantum Korea 2026 event? Let's start from far. Phil can start us off.
Yeah, thank you. And sorry, just quickly, Mori's on. Yes, everything you said, yes. I'm very excited about that response. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm relatively new here. I mean, I've been with Quantum Industry Canada for 7 months now, and this is my first Quantum Korea. I wouldn't say I would do something inherently different, but I did learn a lot. I learned a lot more about international collaboration, building relationships, understanding the sector here and abroad, and how to map between them. So I wouldn't wake up and entirely change my life and the way I operate, but I will say I have very much refined the way that I think about this and the way that I'm going to carry myself forward. Again, an amazing conference. Thank you to the organizers, everyone involved. I'm very much looking forward to Quantum Korea 2027.
Thank you, Professor Wu.
이것도 이제 굉장히 흥미로운 그거였어요. 이게 영어로 바꾸면 좋겠는데. 네. 딴 건 아니고 일단 저도 여기 와서 느낀 거는 퀀텀이란 게 그냥 사이언스 영역에 머무르는 게 아니고 이제 테크놀로지로 나와야 되는 거고요. 테크놀로지는 사실은 되게 다양한 사람과의 어떤 컬래버레이션을 통해서만 이루어질 수 있다고 생각해요. 그래서 사이언스와 테크놀로지가 같이 가야 되는 영역이 이 퀀텀인 것 같고요. 저는 기업하는 입장에서는 이제 앞으로 더 테크놀로지 쪽에 좀 관심을 갖게 될 것 같고, 또 한편 대학으로 돌아가면 좀 더 사이언스 쪽으로 가야 되는 이 두 마리 토끼를 해야 될 것 같아요. 하지만 제가 저희 회사 직원들한테는 좀 더 테크놀로지 쪽으로 가라고 좀 더 강하게 얘기를 할 것 같습니다. 여튼 너무 좋은 많은 걸 배웠던 퀀텀 코리아였습니다.
Thank you. And now, Jonathan.
Well, thank you. I mean, what I will be doing is reflecting on how my members, how the UK businesses can work with and leverage the fantastic capabilities here in Korea. I mean, it's a very complementary ecosystem, and I do hope I'll be able to work with KQIA on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishi.
Nurturing the relationships further. I think it's the first time we brought a pretty strong delegation to Korea. And after the site visits and to a lot of the manufacturing players here and getting to know the quantum sector here, including the institutes and startups, I think there's a lot of complementary strengths. And I think when we be going back, we want to further continue the conversations and see how we can do things such as talent exchanges, pilots, joint programs around building use cases. I think there's a lot of opportunity between both Australia, Korea, and a lot of our partners on this stage as well.
Thank you. Not last but not least, Hiro.
So when I attend this kind of global quantum conference, I met new people. I get a new idea. So my to-do list always gets double after join this conference. So for tomorrow, it's Saturday. I will take a coffee and start a new collaboration.
Thank you. That was a very clever closing remarks. Thank you. As we listen to these wonderful gentlemen, we've learned about how different associations deal with the day-to-day issues in the quantum industry in different countries. And there are differences, but they're all the same. And we all have many problems to solve. And since the industry is young, we're looking for a lot of people to solve the problems together. So let's think of it as our opportunity to take part in this journey. And please join me in thanking our 5 panelists. And also thank yourself for sitting through these 40 minutes of discussions as well.